India's digital health platform, CoWIN, hosted the world's largest vaccination program for COVID-19, delivering more than 2 billion doses. And the United Nations has accompanied India in all these development milestones, from the World Food Programme support for India's public distribution system to the UN Development Programme's partnership with the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. India also demonstrates a practical and generous approach to global solidarity and South-South cooperation. It was the first country to launch a single-country South-South cooperation support framework via the UN-India Development Framework Partnership, and indeed our relationship with India on development is a two-way partnership. From your donations of medicines, equipment and vaccines at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, to your humanitarian assistance and development finance, Afghanistan and Sri Lanka, your increasing impact on the international stage, India is today a partner of choice of the United Nations. And India's upcoming presidency of the G20 will be an important opportunity to bring the values and vision of the developing world to the top table of the global economy. There is an interesting coincidence. We have the presidency of Indonesia, followed the presidency of India, followed by the presidency of Brazil, and followed by the presidency of South Africa, which means that for the first time in history, four crucial developing countries will lead the G20. The war in Ukraine. There is no way I can end the war in Ukraine. But there was something I thought I should do, was to try to work with the Russians, with the Ukrainians, but also with the Europeans, the Americans, etc., to see if it was possible to come to agreements allowing for the export of grains from the Ukraine and allowing for Russian food and fertilizers also to be able to move freely independently of the sanctions regimes. So it's good offices. It's not a power. No, I mean, I cannot tell the Ukrainians and the Russians, you now do this, or the Americans, and no. But I can go and talk to them, and especially being discreet, because if I start using megaphone diplomacy, forget about it. There is no way you can get anything. But so the importance for Secretary-General is to have the humility to understand that we have no power, and that the only thing you can is to be faithful and loyal to the values, the UN Charter. I consider that I have the right to defend the Charter in all circumstances, and that is the reason of the many positions that I've been taken. Be loyal to the Charter and do everything we can with our good offices to create conditions for dialogue, for cooperation, for people to come together, and sometimes to speak up and to say that some things are not acceptable. To gender equality. And violence against women. I launched an appeal. This is a matter not only of importance, it's an emergency matter, because things are getting worse, not better. So I launched an appeal, and a meaningful number of countries, I cannot give you the exact number today, have responded positively. Every country should have an emergency plan to fight violence against women, covering all aspects: training of police, training of the judiciary, investing in the areas where violence of women against women is more predominant, namely in social investment in those areas, making sure that there is clear accountability in society in relation to violence against women. I had that experience as Prime Minister of Portugal. There was reluctance in discussing it. Family violence was something that was not in the agenda. And one of the biggest battles I had was to make sure that we put family violence, which was essentially violence against women, in the center of our internal debate, and that in the police training, in the reforms of the judiciary, in all other aspects of the administration, these would be a priority in the way we do business. And I think the same must happen everywhere. The society hides violence against women. The society conspires to make sure that violence against women is not shown as it is. So there is need also for active
capacity to denounce it wherever it happens, and to create the mechanisms in which those that are active fighting violence against women do not become themselves victims. And today, unfortunately, we have, with social media and many other aspects, terrible campaigns against women activists, against women politicians, violence against women politicians, physical violence less, but violence through social media is today enormous around the world and needs to be assumed by everybody. And I would say particular responsibility for boys and men as an absolute priority. Gender equality is essential. We will not get it without a change in power, so gender parity is essential. But at the same time, the big cancer of